Hey, and it is 9:30, time for Friday Night Hangout, so we grab a brew, shoot the breeze, and interact with you live on the internet. Great panel tonight.
Great
What?
panel tonight. It's ladies' night on the Friday Night Hangout. We've kicked the boss to the background, and tonight we're trying something a little different. I am Krista, one of your regular panelists, hosting the Friday Night Hangout, hashtag Friday Night Hangout here on avoidingchores.com, and we have assembled one of your favorites and a couple of new friends to join us tonight and to talk about all of the wonderful things that have been going on in the immediate vicinity and all kinds of interesting stuff that we found out on the internet this week. We're also going to be drinking some beer and talking about that a little bit, but without further ado, let's meet the panel. Joining us from the hub of Nova Scotia, please give a warm Avoiding Chores welcome to Michelle McCann, at Michelle McCann.
Hello!
Welcome aboard, Michelle. Joining us from Wallace, Nova Scotia.
Even further north.
Even further north, but if that sounds familiar, that's because we've gone over to the better side of the Elliott clan and brought Krista Elliott on board, joining us from Wallace. Hello!
I locked Keith in the closet tonight.
And Keith, I guess if you're listening and you're trapped in the closet, like, shout louder because we can't hear you. And joining us from the dark side, all the way over in Dartmouth, Nova Scotia, we have panel regular and dear friend of the show, Lori at Pitcher Plant. Hello. So we run on a little bit of a delay, so we're just taking a minute here to get everything up and running. Here's what we'll do. We'll talk about what we're drinking tonight, go into some topics, have opinions, as the ladies are wont to do, and you can join in the conversation. We'll have the YouTube going. It should be up and running. Lori will be keeping an eye on that. Hashtag Friday Night Hangout over on Twitter. Krista and, to a lesser extent, this Krista, will be keeping an eye on that. And over on avoidingchores.com, we have a comment window over there as well. Michelle will be keeping an eye on that. So if there's anything that you're just burning to chime in on, or if you're wondering, you know, where did the men go? It's like that TV show that, but different. That I guess somebody watched. I don't know. I didn't. But before we get into our topics tonight, let's talk about what we're drinking. All the way up to Wallace, Nova Scotia. Krista Elliott, what are you drinking tonight?
I am drinking a lovely Pump House Premium Lager.
Nice.
Hard to see the label in the dark, but that's all right. It's going down very nice already.
Excellent. Very good. And Michelle, what do you bring us from the baby tea?
I am drinking, let's see here, Nook and Cranny, because I drink the Nook and Cranny as much as possible. Blueberry wheat, so it's their in-house beer that they have on tap and for growlers in-house.
No, I'm not familiar with the Nook and Cranny. It's a relatively new...
It is about, it turned a year old in May. They opened in May of last year and then started doing their own brewing in May of this year. So they're relatively new, and they've got a great patio and a great staff and a great product and good food. So it all adds up to a place I like to spend my time.
If you follow Michelle on Instagram, she does.
It's the summer of blueberry wheat. I joke to them. I'm like, I'm taking this picture and I'm going to make a collage of blueberry wheat at the end of the summer.
No shade, no shame, because I've been drinking basically the same 3 beers all summer. So
exactly.
It's summer. Once you find your beer, lock it down.
Yep.
And Lori, what do you have over in Dartmouth tonight?
I am drinking Dew de Ciel Rosé Hibiscus.
Oh, well. Now, if memory serves, I believe we sampled some of that on our recent beer trip to Montreal. Is that not correct?
I did quite a bit of that because it's delightful.
Yes, we love
I wanted to try that last time we were at the Goat, and they didn't have any.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Sounds
beautiful. Yeah, they usually have it year round. They stock it at the privates here in Halifax too, so you can stock up there. For my first beer, I am drinking the Boxing Rock Sessionista.
Nice.
This one is empty though, so I'll be changing that pretty soon. So let's get into it. Again, we are at hashtag Friday Night Hangout. Join us. Chime in. We welcome your feedback.
We may
Because
mock it, but we welcome it.
we will definitely comment on it. If you're
exactly.
used to Lori and I commenting on everything, now there's 4 of us.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And one more thing before we go on. The best of what happens on the Friday Night Hangout gets condensed into a podcast, which will go live as soon as we can convince Jim to edit it into a suitable form. So that will take the funniest bits and probably edit out some of our ums and ahs, but hopefully not all of them, because that's what makes it real.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
let's get into it. We're going to start on a note. I can't remember if we talked about it on the last Hangout or not, but last weekend was the Evolve Music Festival up in Antigonish. Correct me if I'm wrong, ladies. And prior to that, there was a good news story that quickly became a bad news story that quickly became a good news story because they were looking at doing some drug testing this year to, I guess, validate the purity of various substances that are found at these sorts of events, and in what a lot of people thought was a pretty considered harm reduction approach. And then their event assurance got canceled. And then they found another one, but they couldn't do the drug testing. And then over the weekend, the music festival happened. There were a couple of a pretty typical number of medical incidents, I understand, for that. But there was one very serious one where a young man had to be airlifted to a hospital in Halifax with seizures, and he did pass away this morning, unfortunately. So there's been no direct attribution to any sort of drug use, though it's certainly been applied. If you read the comments, don't read the comments ever, except on avoidingchoice.com.
Good save.
So not that it had anything to do with this young man's death, but when it comes to drugs and music festivals, what do you guys think? Or was it, did they do the right thing with trying to do this testing thing, right idea, wrong execution?
I think they did. I mean, I think it's naive to say, oh, it's a music festival, people aren't going to do drugs, or we want to, prevent people from doing drugs. It's going to happen. Mm-hmm. So, get your head out of your butt and try to get that harm reduction in there so that at least people are safe. You don't have to, encourage it and say, hey, everybody, let's get completely, blitzed. But basically, it's almost like, a good parental approach to safe sex. I don't want you doing it, but if you're going to do it, be safe.
Yeah.
If you're going to do it, be safe, make good choices.
Yeah. Make good choices. That's, should be your motto. It is your motto. It's just a good life motto, right? But I think, again, I read an article, I read the one that you sent us, Krista, and then I had seen one in the Chronicle Herald that said that this boy, he was only 21, had a history of epilepsy and that sort of thing, and that the initial blood test had said no drugs in the system. Who knows if that was, accurate information, but at the same time, in that same article, there was a doctor at the Antigonish Hospital who was saying that she was terrified because she had never seen 16 cases of altered mental state / seizures, right?
Well,
but it is a festival. It's just small in a small town. If it was what is it called? I'm going to sound old, but is it Osheaga, the one that's up in Montreal?
Yeah. Or Glastonbury or any of those ones, right?
Any of them, yeah.
Or Coachella,
God, you go to a Richard Marx concert, there's going to be drugs.
Especially at a Richard Marx concert.
Can you imagine, the rolling on Molly at a Richard Marx concert would probably be a pretty transcendental experience.
It could be.
Yeah.
Could be.
Don't do drugs at Richard Marx concerts, grown-ups.
Don't do drugs ever.
We expect better of you.
But I don't understand.
Don't go to Richard Marx concerts.
Hey,
honestly,
he's got a feed.
Yeah, you're right. I don't understand why insurance companies have such an issue with the whole, testing of drugs by saying, listen, we're going to offer this service. It doesn't necessarily infer that we're saying, hey, everybody, raid your parents' cupboards and come on in and shove your face full of pills or something. It doesn't mean that at all, and I don't see that as a one-to-one relationship. I see that as, number one, the organizers are protecting the attendees' safety. Plus, I think they're kind of trying to protect their own reputation and protect their own interests by offering a safer environment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And why
Yeah.
insurance companies wouldn't understand that, I'm not too clear on.
Well, what it comes down to is, depending on where you stand on the war on drugs, they, for lots of legal reasons, you can't condone. It's implied that you're condoning the usage of these drugs if you provide a safe environment to do it. So this is the basic. This is basically the same argument that's made around safe injection sites and medical marijuana and all kinds of stuff like that. So. I tend not to be a prohibitionist that way, but because with street drugs and particularly with these chemical drugs, which didn't really exist when I went to university, so a lot of the stuff is like very like a lot of it just sounds terrifying. It's like, well, I don't want to touch everybody. Like that sounds awful. Like there's nothing appealing about doing them.
Space. Your dance space.
Yeah, like MDMA sounds horrifying. I'm like, I don't want to touch that many people ever.
No.
So, I mean, maybe the drugs would help. That might be part of it. But I'm not doing MDMA. I'm 41. But yeah, I mean, it's really, Evolve had a pretty good track record on the drug front until I think they had some certainly some medical issues, some overdoses, that sort of thing, but I don't think they've had anything quite this serious in the past. So that's kind of unfortunate, especially where the organizer did try to do right by them. Maybe it's not related. It'll all come out in the wash, I'm sure. So let's get ready to move on to our next topic, but first let's check in on our social media channels. Chime in, Internet. I know you're wanting to. Hashtag Friday Night Hangout. We're also over on the Avoiding Chores YouTube channel and also on avoidingchores.com. There's a show page for tonight. Look for July 17th, Ladies' Night. All right, who's ready to start?
I got nothing on YouTube. Even though there's 8 people watching, you think you could type. If you're watching, you could type.
I've got one on the website. Of course, it's Bluefin774. It just says, "Hey gang, looking forward to watching the new and most likely improved Avoiding Chores panel. Take care, Bluefin." And then, of course, our Jim has to, agree with them. That's what I think, Mike. So.
Hey, wait a minute, Lee!
Oh.
Yay!
Hey.
Yay! He commented, but he was mocking Jim at the very beginning, saying one of these ladies not like the others. You're right. You're right.
That is wonderful. And how's the hashtag doing, Krista?
Pretty quiet. Fair bit of just sort of retweets about the fact that we're here and.
That's right. We're the lady Ghostbusters of the Friday Night Hangout. To deal with it. And I did make a promise of no shopping and shoe talk, so moving right along. Something that has emerged as my new favorite way to remind myself that I still kind of live in a small town is the recent furor that has arisen over the Halifax branding efforts of our fair regional municipality, and a sign got changed, and it took the old brand, put the new brand up, and it spawned this very curious local internet subculture that is connecting the dots on what is a pretty impressive conspiracy theory to remove Dartmouth from the map. So the Coast has been following this as a close follower of urban affairs in our fair regional municipality. Dartmouth versus Halifax. I gotta be honest, to me this is all playing out like an extended version of Parks and Recreation. And it's like
Totally.
like Pawnee and like West Pawnee having a branding war, and I feel like we could have one of those municipal meeting scenes where Leslie Knope goes and it's just a cast of completely unusual characters with very specific grievances to air. So what do you think? Halifax versus Dartmouth, is this really a branding war? Really?
I can kind of sympathize. I mean, I can feel some sympathy for the people of Dartmouth. I mean, there were people there, probably quite a lot of people, who were opposed to amalgamation in the first place. and feel that it was done, totally against their will. So then to feel that, they're slowly being assimilated into the Halifax Borg, I can see why they might be a little bit, touchy about the whole thing.
Yeah, I think that the whole, when the regional municipality aspect got dropped from the brand, it just got confusing. And I could see it. I was like, I remember driving into the city at one point, and I was like, it's gonna be confusing for people, and I was like, I could feel the rage coming because it was just like, Dartmouth is so adamantly Dartmouth. Bedford doesn't seem to care so much, but Dartmouth is the anti-Halifax.
Bedford doesn't care. Lori, do you have any? You live in Dartmouth. You are one of the aggrieved parties, according to the very conspiracy-based Facebook groups that exist about this.
Yeah, you know what? I'm not aggrieved at all. And I'll say this: I love living in Dartmouth. Dartmouth, for folks who haven't spent a lot of time here, has lots to offer. It's a great community, fantastic. The fact of the matter is
all of the lakes. It has
all of the lakes. It has all the lakes. The fact of the matter is that the Halifax Regional Municipality, of which it is known, that is their legal name, is the Halifax Regional Municipality, is comprised of 200 individual communities. And then when I say that, that's 200 provincially recognized communities. Plus all of the locally known communities, as well, that is not provincially recognized. I really do think, like, the logo or the brand is Halifax, and the signage before had the lighthouse with the Halifax Regional Municipality. So I'm not completely sure I understand where the virulent pushback is coming from the Halifax Regional Municipality lighthouse to the new Halifax brand. I don't know when the switch was flipped there to say we are now, getting rid of the other community names. And I actually read Councillor Way Mason's blog post, which was responding to a number of the grievances or perceived grievances by the Dartmouth folks, like such as phasing out Dartmouth out of the whole mailing postal communities and things of that nature. Well, that's just not happening, and I don't know where all of this churn is coming from. If somebody, and I'm sure I'm not the first person to say this, and I have a lot of opinions, but I'm not the first person to say that. If I'm speaking to somebody who is outside of the province and especially outside of the country, if they were to ask me where I reside, I would say I live in Halifax, Nova Scotia. Mm-hmm. If somebody who I knew was familiar with the Nova Scotia or even within the city or the province, I'd say I live in Dartmouth, right? For me, it's simply a way to give perspective to people about where I live. I reside in Dartmouth, Nova Scotia, and that's a fact. But for people who have
only
no
until Halifax takes it away from you, man.
You're right. But for people who don't understand,
arm yourself, Lori. Arm yourself.
Exactly. You know what? I grew up just outside Corner Brook, Newfoundland, and if somebody were to ask, I lived in Little Rapids, but if anybody were to ask me outside of that area, I'd say I grew up in Corner Brook. And it's that simple. I don't feel slighted because people don't.
I grew up in a community that was part of a municipality. It was between two towns, and I just always said I was from the closest town because this is literally something that does not matter.
Well, that's it. I mean, I grew up here. Well, I didn't grow up here. I grew up in Valley, which is in the county. It was very important when I was a kid to make that differentiation because I was not a townie. I was from Valley. I didn't go to school in town, that kind of thing. Now I am a townie. But when I went to university, I just said Truro because they're going to be like Valley and think it's the Valley and think I'm from, where Krista's from. But it's just confusing. But even now, when I meet people, I do say I'm from Truro, but most people don't know. So it's like Truro, about an hour from Halifax. Exactly. You know,
And
so there's always that.
Imagine what I say when people ask where I'm from.
About an hour from Truro.
The context for this always drives me crazy because these things only matter, and the arguments only have context if you are incredibly locally ingrained in these things.
Yeah.
So if you're talking to someone from Toronto, they, or even worse, further west, they might not even know where Halifax is.
Yeah.
They may not know where Nova Scotia is. So I mean, there is some of this is, I'm going to drink when I say it too. Some of this is like kind of Ivany report related, like gotta change your attitude, change your thinking things, because these kinds of like small p provincial, like parochial battles about things that are I guess symbolically important, but in terms of day-to-day life are
Don't
just
mean anything.
not going to be the things that are going to really impact most people's day-to-day living.
It is a little bit navel-gazing-ish, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I'm afraid we do a decent amount of that here, and that's why I find it such a glorious comparison to Parks and Recreation. Like every single day, I witness something that could easily be a plot line of Parks and Recreation.
We're in the midst of a rebranding process in Truro for the town, and I'm interested to see what comes of it, because it's very much they've asked for input and that sort of thing, but I'm a little scared because it is a small town, and I'm worried that the tagline and the logo is going to be the brand. It's like, no, we need to get beyond that, and because I've been in meetings where people have referred to Truro as the GTA, the Greater Truro area, and I want to stab myself in the head because it's delusions of grandeur, and I'm like, let's be what we are. We're a good town, a small town, anyway.
A good, nice, decent amount of economic activity going on there. Like Truro's actually, there's stuff happening there. Just one more note that I'll give myself the last word, and then we can check some comments. So if you'll refresh your channels there, ladies. This is also some new school, old school Halifax politics stuff going on, because one of the more strident defenders of the rebranding exercise has been one of our newer councillors, going up against the stalwart last mayor of Dartmouth, Gloria McCuskey, who goes on actual news radio shows, call-in shows, and tells him to stay on this side of tells people tells them to stay on this side of the harbor, and actively admits that she votes on things vindictively, and it's just a very old school style politics that is whatever, she's been successful at it long enough that I guess she can do whatever the hell she wants. But on the other hand, it's really disappointing to kind of watch and say, really, is there a future still, really? Because we did politics like that when I was growing up outside of Bridgewater in the 80s.
The fact of the matter is it shouldn't be an us versus them. So it's not communities versus communities. I don't generate my love for Dartmouth by what other people think of Dartmouth. It's really about what I think of Dartmouth and what I give to my community here in Dartmouth. And this whole thing is Dartmouth is better than Halifax, is better than Dartmouth, is better than Bedford. To me, it's irrelevant. It's just not. Every community, every as Lee's comment says, every borough or every block has its own charm. North End, South End, West End, whatever, Cole Harbour, whatever it is, they all have their own charm and their own appeal. And I think we need to focus more on letting the light shine on those great things than trying to shove other communities down.
And wasting energy on 20-year-old battles.
Amalgamation is done.
It's done. I've only lived here 15 years, which still makes me a come from way for Halifax. But my God, fighting about stuff that it doesn't have a lot to do with where we're going as a city in the future, and it has even less to do with where we're going as a province in the country in the future. So that might lose me some other friends in Dartmouth, but You know what? Like, while all this is going on, it distracts from the fact that the North End Secessionist Army continues to organize in plain sight.
And it
All
could
right,
be worse.
so-
You could be in Spring Hill.
You're right.
That doesn't
You're
exist
right.
anymore, so I'm told. All right, let's hit the comments. Let's see. I hear people have been commenting. I don't know what they've been saying. So what's
Lee commented on YouTube and said, "Just do what New York did. Call Dartmouth a borough with its own unique culture."
Actually, that's not a terrible idea. That would solve a
It
lot of
isn't actually.
you know, they have a fairly devolved level of government. They have a fairly centralized city government in New York, but they just do have borough presidents, and they do still have some borough bureaucratic functions, and you know, whatever makes this go away.
We've got a comment from Mike on the website just saying, I live in Mount Pearl. If I'm away on the mainland, I say I'm from St. John's. If I'm home in the province, I say I'm from Mount Pearl. Most people away from here wouldn't know about Mount Pearl. It's easier that way. Exactly, right? Like,
there you go.
Yeah.
Common sense from the internet. I love our commenters. And Krista, anything happening with our hashtag?
Not a whole lot other than one particular friend of the show, a certain Mel, who seems to be calling the fact that we're ladies into question.
Yeah, she's got a lot of opinions about that, and if she wanted to express those opinions, she could have joined the show tonight.
You're right.
Yeah.
Like, there's like extra space here. She could have been.
Burn. All right, moving on. This one just happened this morning, but Elle Jones, who is a local activist and writer and artist, spoken word poet, is currently acting as Halifax's Poet Laureate, and she announced that she has to leave Halifax because she can't find permanent, stable work here. So she's taking up a position, I believe, with the Iowa Writers Workshop, which is an incredibly prestigious writing program. So it's actually a amazing opportunity. It's an amazing opportunity for her. But you know, she has taken her role as activist and is being very public about this and how she's really struggling with this because she wants to stay here and she wants to contribute to this community. And anyone that is familiar with the racial and gender issues that are going on, particularly in our city, are certainly familiar with her face and her work. And she's been doing a lot to really challenge some traditional structures and institutions and organizations, and I actually think she's been a power of change for good on that front, and really forcing people to have some, because you know the media and the power structures and everything are very overwhelmingly dominated by white people here, and particularly white men here. That you know, she really does challenge people to confront some pretty uncomfortable thoughts for people from Nova Scotia, and I think it'll be a loss. But
I have to plead ignorance on that. I honestly, I mean, I had heard her name, but until today I didn't know much about her.
That's fair.
But it's all, I mean, anybody who stirs the pot is good in my opinion, because we need to learn to, you know, change the way we think about things. But I think the life of an academic, do they not, like, I remember having professors in university who none of them were local. You know, it's not like they had grown up in, I went to St. FX, they didn't grow up in Antigonish and,
no,
you know,
she's
stay there. They kind of move around. Yes, I saw she was from Winnipeg.
And she moved here. But she has been a really tremendous voice in the community. I really do think this one's going to hurt. And the only reason, and I've been talking about it a lot today, because of course when I lost my job back in April, I was in the exact same situation. You know, my job options were, you know, until the process that I got reemployed through kind of kicked off, my options were pretty limited. And you know, my first plan was to look for work, and my second plan was to look for work elsewhere, and that was something that I had really kind of put some kind of meat into planning wise, and because I mean that's just the reality. You know, I'm pretty educated. I have you know, almost 20 years work experience now, and the kinds of jobs that, you know, I guess people think I deserve to take were like retail and
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
short-term
You
or
hit the
short-term
point where
contract.
you're not an entry level. You're not an entry level person. None. You know,
Yeah.
we're all well beyond that state of our lives.
Yeah.
And
I
that
like
I remember
the,
when you lost your job, I'm like, oh crap, Krista's gonna leave,
well,
because
you know,
that was
that was
my first thought.
yeah, like that was, and that was certainly my plan B, and I didn't make any secret of that. But I mean, things worked out very well for me, and I'm very happy with the job that I have. But at the same time, like that's a pretty blunt reality here, and it really brings out this very antagonistic side. Like if you, I mean, I generally advise avoiding the comments anyway, but you definitely want to avoid the comments on this post because they're a level of nasty that. And I don't even want to know what CBC actually blocked because usually anything that involves anyone from the African Canadian community gets
Yeah.
pretty vile.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and honestly, it's just gross. So, anyway,
Well, yeah. And that's where, I mean, internet, you're part of the problem. You know, if people, that's their opinion, they don't see the loss in her. And our province needs as many, you know, energetic, youngish people, you know, because I throw myself into that. I'm not, you know, 20, but I still have a lot of years left, and you need that energy from people. And you need, like I said, you need people who are willing to start arguments and start people thinking about things.
Yeah.
well,
And it's always that
here changes.
automatic, yeah, it's like, no, we don't want to change, so
And we're
go
definitely not
away.
going to.
And I would have to
Yeah.
say, like, L. Jones writes for the Halifax Examiner for his on Tim Bousquet's Saturday edition, and the first number of times I read the Saturday edition, I just felt really, really uncomfortable about what it was she was saying. Then I kind of had to, you know, look at myself and go, you know what? I think it's very good that there's somebody who's going to turn over those rocks and
Yeah.
like look at the shit that is in the underbelly of our community and is willing to, like, again, shine a light on it and go, this is what you're doing.
Yeah.
Maybe not me personally, but us as a society, and saying, this is what you're doing, this is what you're saying, and we need to have a dialogue about that. And I think that there's a lot of value in her having done that for the Examiner, and in her general day-to-day interactions with the public. I think that there needs to be people in our community who is not afraid of saying, I'm calling you on your shit, and this is why. And I think, you know, while I believe that this is probably a fantastic opportunity for her, and I'm sure it is, because as Krista said, it's quite a prestigious position to be I think it's the writer in residence or whatever. It's going to be a loss, and because we have to then now turn to other people who are as publicly willing to overturn those rocks, and I think there will be a real gap that Elle leaving will leave with our community.
For sure.
I think you're absolutely right.
Sorry, go ahead, Krista.
Oh, I said I think you're absolutely right, Lori, because I mean the thing is that, you know, as, you know, white cis women, we basically live in this sort of bubble of privilege and really don't realize what life is like for other marginalized people. And when we have other people pointing us saying, hey, this is what's happening to me, and this is my experience, and this is the experience of other people, then yeah, there is that discomfort there, because it sort of lets us know, like, okay, maybe things aren't as great as we thought, and maybe life isn't as idyllic as I thought just because it's that way for me. And unfortunately, that at first initial reaction is to get defensive and be like, well, no, what are you talking about? I'm a nice person, you know, this isn't racism. But we need people like Elle, unfortunately, because we white people aren't really in a place yet to examine our privilege, and we still need people to point it out for us. And that's sad as hell, but that's still where we are right now.
It's where we are. I think change only comes through having those being
exactly. That's my discomfort.
Discomfort.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
that's where the
it's like-
learning comes
You're not
from.
learning.
Yeah, that's where the learning comes from. That's going to be
It's
a
that
big, that's
whole,
going to be a
you
big
know,
loss.
that inspirational, you know, that good things happen at the end of your comfort zone. It's in general for society. That's the way it is. If something makes you uncomfortable, that means that there's probably something wrong with it. You know, there's a reason why you have that reaction to it, and that's where change comes from. So
Yeah.
I couldn't agree more.
make
All
that
right,
into an
let's,
inspirational quote, somebody.
That's right. Make that an Instagram quote. Let's
There you
refresh
go.
our channels, refresh your drinks. We'll do another round of what we are drinking and take a look at our comments. Who's?
Oh, I've got a comment from a Mr. Keith Elliott. I have no idea who that guy is.
Hey,
He says,
Keith got
yeah,
out of the
I
closet.
thought he was in the closet.
I thought he was trapped.
Got out.
Yeah, me too. Rebranding churro, come for the title bore, stay for the rendering plant.
Or you can pee and get coffee in one exit. You empty your bladder and then you fill it back up again, and then you keep going to Masstown Market and get
know
like really good cookies.
That is an underrated value in a destination.
It kind of is.
I'm on board.
You know, it's all good.
Anything-
We've got nothing on the website. So.
All right. Anything else on YouTube, Lori?
No, that's it. That's all I can see.
All right, Krista. Anything over on the hashtag? Hashtag
Nothing on
39
Twitter.
Come
No,
on, people, come on.
Well,
Talk to us.
Melanie said,
People, go.
"Sick burn, ladies. She's going to bed. She's old." And you know what? She is
I
old.
considered
so
taking a
maybe
nap
damn it.
before this, so there's that.
Oh,
I
come
actually
on.
did take a nap, so I'm.
Ah, yay!
All right, refresh your beverages. What are you drinking there up in Wallace there, Chris Elliott?
I am now drinking I'm now drinking a Pump House cream ale.
Oh, very nice. Oh, I've not had their cream ale. My
Ooh,
I
that is
really
nice.
I love the Hell Bay cream ale, so I'd be really interested to try that one.
Yes.
It's quite delightful.
I bet it is. I'll have to see if I can find that at my local liquor boutique.
That always sounds vaguely dirty. Liquor boutique. I barely know.
A boutique.
You purveyor of liquors.
Michelle McCann, what are you drinking up there in Truro?
I am still working on my my Nook and Cranny blueberry wheat. Of course, I am drinking it out of a Tadabrew glass. So
Nice. I have one of those too.
representing Colchester County in the finest way.
Fantastic.
I was hoping to go up to the beach today and stop at Tata to actually get some new stuff, but work and things. I had to do adulting.
Yeah,
It's
get some of
good
that.
to the beach.
Get some of their
I
North
know.
lagered ale. It's a nice one.
Yeah,
That'll be-
it's really good. Yeah.
Mm.
And they have
Well, text
cans
me when
now
you do
too,
come up.
right? So
They have their
Yeah.
canning. I believe their canning line is in and working.
yeah.
And Laura, what are you drinking over there in Dartmouth?
I am still drinking a rosé hibiscus from Dieu de Ciel, but I'm going to move on to that. What's that one you really like, Krista? The raspberry?
That would be the Solstice d'été, Laurie.
Yes, I'm actually going to move on to that very shortly. What a good
that's-
segue.
That's what a terrific segue. Thank you. That's what I've moved on to.
Yes.
The Dieu de Ciel Solstice d'été, which is their summer sour wheat with raspberries.
Nice.
It's very raspberry. It's
It's
delightful.
very raspberry.
And the
It's a
label
good-
is beautiful.
Isn't it? It's
Yeah, it is.
gorgeous.
Oh yeah, like whoever does the art
It's
for
like speaking
Dieu
of
de Ciel,
branding, oh my god,
Yeah.
it's
Dieu
gorgeous.
de Ciel has the most beautiful labels. They're
Yeah.
beautiful. They just have really exceptional. Whoever does them, it's amazing.
Yeah.
No, for people in Halifax and Cape Breton who have been enjoying Big Spruce's silver tart, their raspberry sour wheat ale. This would be a friend of it. It's in the same.
Yeah.
I think style-wise, it's brewed in the same style. It's also obviously raspberry, so that's super nice. And man, like this is my beer of the summer, raspberry sour. Just lay it on me. I was also going to, and then I never got around to it because I got busy doing some other stuff. Last weekend, we had such fine weather, I invented a drink using Nova Scotia products, and I'm very excited about that, which it's called a strawberry shortcake because this is the season for strawberry shortcake. And you find yourself some cream soda, maybe even one from Propeller Brewing. They make some fine sodas down there. And you add a little glug or two of the Ironworks from Lunenburg strawberry liqueur, and I promise you, it is a life-changing summer-themed beverage.
Yum.
Good.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's really good. It's really, really good. But I digress. So we are going through our topics here. One of the projects of one of our panel members tonight is something that's been, I think it's really fun. I hope it's going well for her. Laura, you've put together a calendar of community events and activities and breakfast suppers that have been going on throughout the summer. Or, well, year-round, I guess. Want to tell us a little bit about that, and then maybe something that's going on?
Sure can. So it actually all started. Christopher, Melanie, Close, and myself went to a pancake breakfast out in Tantallon, and that was amazing.
Oh, it's so fun.
They did not make a cent off me. I'm going to tell you that right now. But as we were sitting around. What? Yeah. Oh my God, it was amazing. And as we were sitting around the table, we all got in this conversation about, growing up as kids. I know for me especially, there was always a church dinner, like a church coal plate or a church roast beef dinner and things of that nature. And my question was, and Krista and Mel were talking about, I think it was a pancake supper or something going on near close to where Krista lives in North Halifax.
It's famous.
It is. It's fantastic, actually. And I was like, you know what? Why isn't there a place where we can find out where all of these are? And, then we were kind of chatting about it, and I said, you know what? I'm going to, do up something, and I didn't know exactly what it was going to be. And then I just said, you know what? I'm going to do a calendar. So I started with just a calendar, and it was just like community, chowder dinners and pancake breakfasts and lobster suppers and stuff like that. And then people started mentioning, well, can you add craft fairs? And then I started saying, well, you know what, especially in the summertime, there's lots of festivals. So I started adding festivals and community events to the calendar. And now I actually, as opposed to just concentrating on the Halifax area, I actually try to go right across the province. So if anybody is curious, I'll give you the website. It's nscommunityevents.wordpress.com, and that's NS for Nova Scotia, communityevents.wordpress.com. And basically what I do is I have, community leaders and participants who email me if they have things coming up. I scour local newspapers and websites and try to find out where these events are occurring, and then I just kind of put them all in one place. And hopefully if somebody is going, say up to the Northern Shore, and they want to say, well, you know what, are there any strawberry socials going on, because that's big right now, they could go to my website and the calendar, or even the cumulative post I do every week, and find out where there might be some of those types of events. So saying that, I'm going to give you guys a couple of highlights through the province. So as everybody knows, the Halifax Pride Festival is going on here for the next 10 days, so from the 16th to the 26th, which is, I've been to, I think, every year for the past 3 or 4 years, at least one event, and it's fantastic. There's a designer craft show at Victoria Park in Halifax as well, from the 17th to the 19th. A lot of great local artisans and things of that nature. Tomorrow, McNabbs Island has their anniversary picnic. And there's a strawberry social in Sambro, so check that out. That's in the Halifax region. Down in the south, I know.
Is there a ferry run, or how do you get out to McNabbs?
I'm not sure how that is working. I think there is some type of ferry, but I'm not interested. They have a website, I think, so you can check that out. The South Shore, which I have to say is wonderful for community breakfasts. I've never seen it any place like it before in my life. There's at least there's 2 going on at Riverport and Petite Riviere, and a number of strawberry desserts socials, one and down in New Germany. So, and then the Bay of Fundy and Annapolis Valley region, we've got a couple of breakfasts in Bridgetown, Windsor, Black River, excuse me. The Annapolis River Festival is in Bridgetown, and a couple of farmers markets in Annapolis Royal and Windsor, and Krista, in the Northumberland Shore region, there is a seafood chowder event tomorrow night in Wallace.
Oh,
Really?
Yep.
See, I didn't even know about that.
Elliot should go there for dinner.
You should.
Yeah, and then there's a lobster dinner tomorrow night in River John. And then in Cape Breton Island, there's the Cape Breton Farmers Market, which is open tomorrow. And I don't know if people know, but Big Spruce is usually got a booth down at
take your Big Spruce
the Farmers Market. Yeah, which is fantastic. And there's a strawberry tea and sale at Big Brador next Wednesday. There you go.
Can I add one?
Honestly, yeah, sure. Sure.
No, it's just the Strawberry Festival at the Truro Farmers Market is tomorrow.
Oh,
which,
that's
I believe that they're actually going. They usually go from I think 7 or 8. I'm never up that early until 1, but I believe it's going till 3:30 tomorrow. So lots of strawberry stuff, and it's a fundraiser for the farmers market.
So is the Truro's Farmers Market open every Saturday?
It is open every Saturday from, I believe, like around Easter until Christmas.
And they do Wednesday afternoons?
It used to be. It was in the past, but I don't think that they had enough. It was too much work for not enough return, especially for
I will add the Truro's Farmers Market to my routine.
There you go. And I think that the Seafoam Lavender Festival, if you are up in the Northumberland area, Seafoam is in the River John, Pictou area. It's this weekend. So
there's some really beautiful lavender. There is some beautiful lavender up there. Past
I'd love to go, but himself is allergic, so.
Yeah.
Oh.
Tomorrow
I've always wanted to go, and it always falls on a weekend when I'm doing things.
Tomorrow I'm going to try to make it to the new market over at the Halifax Forum because it's growing in leaps and bounds every week. And Jim is reporting from the Peanut Gallery that it's pretty nice. So I'll be in charge of that because it's ladies' night for judging.
Halifax Cookies is over there tomorrow, so check her out. She's a dear, and her cookies are amazeballs. Yeah, right.
Well, we'll see if I can scrape together enough farmers market items to make a meal.
There you go.
That's the plan. All right, moving on. Okay, so this one just kind of popped up on the internet today, and I had to share it because it made me see red with rage. So we've posted the link on the show page. There is a young woman who, she's 22 years old. She's presently a college junior, so she's in her 3rd year. And she called into a radio show in Atlanta today to ask for advice, I guess, because in 3 years she blew through a $90,000 American dollar college fund that had been left to her by her grandparents. She has 1 year of school left and no way to cover the remaining $20,000. Now you could be like, okay, like that's pretty effing stupid. So, you know, they kind of like talked her through it, and she kind of explained the situation. She basically does not have the money to pay for it, and so when they started probing and asking what was going on, she said, I used it to budget for school clothes and break money. Probably shouldn't have done that. I took a trip to Europe. I even though the Europe thing was part of my education, and then this is where I consider it the turn. She's like, maybe my parents should have taught me to budget or something. They never sat me down and had a real serious talk about it. So, to an extent.
Okay, first of all, okay, quick question. How much is this girl's tuition? Like, do we know what her actual expenses were? I'm trying to be fair here.
It's about $20,000 a year.
Okay, so if she's in her 3rd year and she's blown through 90,000, she blew like through an extra 10,000, and I can
no, she threw an extra 30,000.
Right, but her tuition was 20 a year?
Yeah, so her tuition is 20 a year. She had 90. It's all gone, and she's
Got
still
none.
20 left to pay.
Okay. So, I mean, I can almost understand being stupid with your money when you're in your early 20s. I've been there. You know, I was not smart with my money in my early 20s. I'm not smart with my money now. So I can kind of almost understand that. But then to basically take absolutely no responsibility whatsoever and just be basically like, well, mommy and daddy should have taught me better. Yeah. No, sorry, you are technically a grown-up at this point in time, and if you make a mistake, you own it.
And one of the hosts suggested maybe you get a job, and she said, "That's embarrassing." And I feel like it is infinitely more embarrassing to go on what is now an internationally broadcast.
But she's famous now,
You know.
Krista. She's famous.
I know. That's what makes all of this so much worse.
She'll get a freaking something kind of deal. I don't know, a book
Some
deal out of
idiot will
this. And
sponsor her to show up at a club and sponsor their vodka and pay for her tuition next year. And
I mean, I know people who. I mean, university was a while ago, but you know, I had friends who drank their student loan money. You know what I mean? Like, and then when it was tuition time, it's like, oh shit. Let me pass this up to it. But I mean, kids are stupid with money, but they're stupid, and then there's I'm gonna drop it. There's fucking stupid, you know, like
yeah, like
It's
and
fashionable.
I like the fact though. I like the fact that she says, "Well, my dad works like has been working for like 1,000,000 years, and they have retirement savings, so it's not like they can't help me."
Yeah, at that point, no.
Okay,
No,
like,
no.
Money, you had the money for this undertaking.
Yeah.
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 And the
And
thing is,
I mean, when you think about the fact that she was gifted money, that she could come out of an undergraduate program with zero debt, that is a privilege.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit who you are.
And it's
the majority of the people come out. Exactly.
Yeah.
Most of us came out of post-secondary education with, you know, a certain amount of debt, and for many of us, it was significant. And to come out of, you know, university, as you say, Krista, in the United States, with an undergraduate degree with zero debt, it sets you up, you know, for life in many respects. But you know, when Michelle was saying, you know, lots of people make mistakes going to university. I'm going to admit it full up. I was terrible with money, and I did not buy textbooks, and I do not recommend this for children at home, kids at home. I did not buy textbooks my second term because it cut into my beer money, and that was not good decision making. I was 18, but at no point did I ever turn around and blame my parents for the lack of parenting skills to teach me that instead, like, there is no connect between them teaching me to or to not budget and me prioritizing alcoholic beverages over textbooks, right?
Like, or act like obligated to keep give you more. That's the thing that gets me.
Well, that's the thing. Like, by the end of my third year, I had 3 jobs and a student loan, and my parents, you know, didn't have money to contribute to my education. So between my own earnings and what I was making and my student loan, that's how I funded my education. So I find, and the costs are different, and it's been a long time since I've been in school. I acknowledge all that. But I'm saying it's the attitude. That all of this is like, well, none of this is my fault. Like, not at all. It's like, girl.
And does she expect us to, like, crowdfund her tuition for her because the poor dear can't pay it? It's like, drop out.
Like her doing that.
Drop out like anybody else would if they didn't have any money. Defer for a year, make the money, and go back. Like,
well, I think she's worked something out with her parents. There was a deal afoot that they would co-sign a loan for her if she got a job. Sticking point at one point in the week, but I think they've kind of come around on it. But it's just the attitude that I can't get over. Like,
it's not that rare. Can I tell a quick story?
Please.
Super quick story?
No. Go ahead, sweetheart.
Friend of my mom's, their daughter, bit of a princess, and her parents were paying her university full way, They were also giving her their gas card, and she decided that she wanted to go away for spring break with all her friends, like, they were all doing. And they said, no, we can't afford that. We're paying your school. That's enough, be happy. So she toddled on into their bank and asked to speak to their financial advisor and say, can you please tell me how much my parents have in the bank? Because I know that they have enough money to send me away for spring break, and they're just being mean.
Shut up! Shut up!
So you can imagine what the financial advisor said. She said, little girl, you get your ass out of my office right now, and I don't want to see you here again, and I am going to be calling your parents.
I want Gail Vaz-Oxlade to intervene.
Yes.
That's all I want.
Yeah.
Oh, like that's
Yeah.
Where does this attitude come from?
Yeah. I know, the gall, the absolute gall, the entitlement. It just.
I would never, ever intrude upon my parents' financial privacy. To do something like that, and to go into a bank and think that they're going to say, oh, let me get those papers out, my darling, and divulge everything to you.
Well, she's not the brightest bulb in the box.
But
she's
pretty stupid. Horrible, though, that she thought, this will be how I fix this.
Yeah. They're lying to me, and they're depriving me of a trip down south with my buds. So I'm going to go into the bank and humiliate them to the bank manager. Yep.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
I know, right?
I cannot even. I can't.
Yeah.
I just can't.
No.
Yeah. No.
So, this one was mind-boggling to me. The circumstance I'm sympathetic to. The response on the part of the afflicted party, I do not understand at all. And I feel further validated by my decision not to have children, a lot. But I don't know, if this is what the future, if it's just going to be more people like this, then I'm done. I'm good.
Yeah.
Y'all can just deal with the rest of it.
If either of my kids turns out like that, I will basically tell them to get a job so that they can buy the parts to build a time machine so they can go back in time and not have them.
Yeah.
You keep Elliot over there tonight.
He's back in the closet.
Yeah, exactly.
You stay in your closet. Yeah, I don't know. This one is one of these kids today stories, but on the other hand, I'm like, oh man. I honestly, the only thing I can think about is I just cannot envision a scenario where I want to have people from this generation that think this way. Not all of them. There are plenty of very hardworking, very considerate millennial people. But I just cannot envision a scenario where I could have this person work for me and not want to leave
work.
Just no.
It's pretty. It's pretty goddamn brazen. That's what I'm going to say. It's brazen. It's just.
I mean, part of it. I respect the confidence, but this is bad feminist of me to say, but I really hope some of these girls are really beautiful because they will just not be able to take care of themselves in the real world. They will just not be able to do it.
Yeah.
That's just math, Yeah. It's a mathematical fact. Anyway, so this pretty young thing, hopefully she, somehow finds a way to pay for her last year of university. Good luck with that, girl.
But you know what would be hilarious if she was a finance major or a business major?
No, it's probably a communications major or something like that. We're
presses like that, Michelle.
Oh, I know.
Well, you never know, right? It's I want to be an accountant when I grow up, but I just blew all my money.
No, just work on staying pretty. That's your job now.
Just even though we're not on comments, Lee had a really good point. Lee Russell, hey Lee, maybe her grandparents should have only made the money available to her after she paid her way through school herself with a job or jobs, gotten student loans, scholarships, etc. The money could have been the reward, either paying for her loans or at least putting a big dent into it, so she's not working for the next 20 years to pay them off.
or
Yeah,
you
to learn
know,
response.
structuring or making her parents the trustees of
That's right.
the
Yeah,
inheritance,
where only
or
X
Yeah.
amount goes
paying,
in every
paying
so
it out in
often.
installments.
Ways
Like they're
around it.
probably like like this isn't the grandparents' fault. And,
No.
I
No.
mean, the parents definitely should have done a better job of teaching her about money.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, my God, give them personal responsibility, please.
Yeah.
Please. All right. So we had a comment there from Lee. Is there, just refresh your channels there. Is there anything else?
I've got a comment from Mike on the website just
Oh,
saying to Lori about your website, and it's true. He just says, Lori, it's great you're posting all these events on your site.
Yes.
Looks good on you to do that, as most people would
Right.
only say someone should organize that. In the end, nobody would actually do it, right? So
That's right.
yeah, it's a
It's
great
amazing
idea.
what a belly full of pancakes will
It's
entice somebody to
true.
do.
That's right. It's
Pancakes
inspirational.
are motivational.
You're
Pancakes.
right.
Sorry, Laurie, what was that? The Acadian Maple Pancake Breakfast that we went to?
It was.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Acadian Maple Pancake Breakfast out in Dantown.
Yeah.
Maple.
Awesome.
Good. What? So anything else on the YouTube there?
Nothing.
Nothing? Sweet. Abundantchores.com? Is there anything else there?
No, that was just from the comment
Excellent.
from Mike. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Mike. We appreciate that.
Yes.
And
Thanks, Mike and Lee.
hashtag Friday Night Hangout. Anything else going on there?
No, I'm afraid not. Twitter's kind of quiet. I don't know what's going on, people.
That's all right. Well, it's a summer
Well,
evening.
don't
This
love
is
me.
this is
True.
our
That's right.
this is our first attempt at this, but it's going very
Would it
well.
help if I flashed my boobs?
I think it would, but unfortunately, most of these fools won't even realize it until they watch the replay on YouTube.com. Like, oh my God! Like an
Like,
hour
we'd have
and a
to do a
minute, you
countdown.
see boobs.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
Boobs. That's right. Yeah, like that should have been it. We should have
We
dropped.
should have started with
We
that. Or
should have
no.
dropped the
we should
teaser.
tease.
At some point
Mm.
in the Hangout, we will
Yeah.
show boobs.
Show boobs. Not
They could
necessarily our
be
own.
on the Centaur on the cover of a Chuck Tingle novel, but there will be.
How did I know you were going to bring those up?
Oh, because I love Chuck Tingle. That's
Yes, I know you do.
he is the spirit guide of the Friday
I
Night Hangout.
wonder, though, now that Amazon has talked about restructuring how they're going to pay their writers, if Chuck Tingle's going to continue to write.
Oh God, I hope so.
I
I don't want to envision a Chuck Tingle-less world. I don't even want to think about it. And then Jim says, Chuck does 4-page stories. So, yes, and they're masterpieces.
Hmm.
Every single one of them is a masterpiece. A 4,000-word masterpiece. Oh, and the pay scale is based on how much you read.
Yes, but he does it by sheer volume, Jim. So, you know.
It's a volume business.
Yeah.
It's a volume
Yeah.
business. Okay, so moving on to our last full topic before we hit the Wayback Machine. Lori dropped an interesting little nugget into our topic pool, and she said, I will ask 3 questions, and I won't tell you what they are, and no research is required, which is my favorite kind of question. So I'm going to turn this part over to Lori.
Okay. So I have to preface this with when I used to work at a IT technical help desk, once a week I would have a question of the week, and everybody around there, it's just a stress breaker. We would ask a question, and then everybody would have their answer, and then we would get into a very lively debate, which most often ended up in laughter. So as I was kind of thinking, I was like, you know what, this might be just something kind of interesting. So the first question I have is, if you were on death row and you were offered your final meal, what would that meal be?
Is that for all of us?
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
I want to hear everybody's answer.
Well, the best meal I ever had was this 5-course with wine pairing extravaganza that I went to at Fleur de Sel about like 7 years ago, and I have yet to encounter its equal. So I'd definitely eat that meal again.
Okay.
But
All
at the
right.
same time, I don't know. Like, is there like a limit on volume? Is there a budget? Is there?
No,
Yeah, Jimmy put a
I think
budget on last
it's like a one seating. It's like you can't graze for 3 days or anything like that.
I mean,
but,
I think we know that if I'm on death row, it's probably like gonna be something that's pretty remarkable. So, and a financial crime, or maybe I would definitely like a Juliana's pizza, a plate of pimientos de padrón from Spain.
Yes.
Some pulpo de gallego, some Spanish octopus, also from Spain. Some gelato from Italy, that was also pretty good. God, and like a big old bowl of bunny chow in a bread bowl, which is a curry, like a curry dish in a bread bowl that they eat in South Africa. Oh, so good. Yeah.
I think I would.
I think you're.
She's good. I'm like, I'll have what she's having.
Yeah.
I would keep it, and honestly, it's because I haven't eaten ice cream in like a year and a half. I would eat a lot of ice cream. So that's my like. I dream about ice cream because that's the one thing that it's a gateway food for me.
It's
I'm like,
gateway drug.
Yeah, I cannot eat one bowl of ice cream. I need to eat the whole carton.
I understand.
So it would be like peanut butter, like the Reese's peanut butter ice cream, which was, the reason why Michelle gained a whole bunch of weight in the first place.
I feel you're saying.
Yeah, I'd keep it pretty simple. And then I'd have massive, stomach pains and think I was dying anyway because of lactose intolerance, but that's okay because I'm going to,
they're the ones that are going to have to deal with you. So.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's right.
The constipation will not kill me. Something else will.
Exactly. You know what? I would be inclined to fill myself up with the foods most likely to leave just a disaster afterwards.
Oh.
If you're gonna kill it, you're gonna have to clean up a big mess.
Once they do the lethal injection, like it's their problem. Like whatever happens to my body afterwards. So
pretty much, yeah.
Good luck with that.
Yeah.
Krista?
Oh gosh, I would say, first of all, probably the biggest, most ridiculous, right out of the oven loaf of white bread, homemade, with lots of butter.
Yeah.
And some old growler cheese from that Dutchman's farm.
Oh yeah.
And then some risotto croquettes from Stubborn Goat, because that is what baby angels eat. Followed probably by, I don't know, a shitload of sushi. I like food. I like it all, but yeah, whatever the last course is, I would basically make it like a ridiculously disgusting quantity of Taco Bell, just for pure revenge.
I just want someone to have to deal with it.
Yeah. Or the Taco Bell might wind up getting me in the hospital, in which case I might be able to escape.
There you go.
There you go. There you go.
Well, there's a little Mexican drug lord alive in all of us.
That's right. That's right. He builds a tunnel. Mine hasn't changed since I first asked this question to my contemporaries at the office about 7 years ago, and it's my stepmother Irene's Christmas turkey dinner. Traditional Newfoundland Christmas turkey dinner. It is the best thing that I have ever eaten ever. Jokingly, in 1996, I was up here. I just moved up here for work, and I didn't think I would get home for Christmas, and at the very last minute managed to snag a flight to Deer Lake for less than 48 hours, of which I paid almost $1,000 to fly home. And I turned to Irene and I said, well, you can say that you charge $500 a plate for your Christmas dinner, because but by and large, I could eat Christmas turkey dinner until, and there would be carnage after that they would have to deal with. I'm going to tell you right now.
I love
vengeful.
That we're all really getting into the poop revenge.
Yeah.
Revenge.
Yeah.
The poovenge.
Yeah, exactly.
The poovenge.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay,
that was a good
Thank you
Right.
very much. So this second question is, if someone was to ask you the worst movie you've ever seen, what would it be?
Okay, so is it the worst movie I've ever seen and enjoyed? Or,
Sharknado.
well, I've got a different answer for that.
We'll have two answers then. The worst movie that you've ever seen and enjoyed, and the worst movie that you've ever seen and you wanted to tear your face off.
Okay, so the one that made me want to tear my face off is Magnolia, and I went to see it with my friends Janet and Kimya, and it's like 7 hours long, and there
Yeah.
comes a point where like it's all building up, and there's this big, big moment, and there's like a guy dying, and all this like weird shit starts to happen at the same time, and Janet leans over to me at this like really like compelling moment in the movie, and she's like, "Die! Die!" And the two of us just start laughing. But that movie was so painful. Like that was like the only movie that I can go to and I can say like I seriously regret every penny I paid to see that.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
was a matinee, so I would have paid like $6 at the time.
Yeah. And that was $6 too much.
Oh, it was too much. The best bad movie is Staying Alive, the sequel to Saturday Night Fever. It is simply a cinematic masterpiece. And if you don't go and watch it immediately, I don't even know what to tell you, because it's flashy and it's like terrible writing. It's written and directed by Sylvester Stallone. It's all about a Broadway dance extravaganza. The costumes are by Bob Mackie. It's just amazing. It's amazing.
And Frank Stallone, didn't he sing the theme song?
Yeah. Frank Stallone did most of the music for it. It's amazing.
Nice.
Why aren't you watching it right now?
Everybody stop watching us. Go
Pause
watch
this. It's all right.
Yeah.
You can scrub through.
You can come back later.
Yeah.
Michelle?
I would think there are very few movies that I've gone to and been like, oh God, I want to leave. Like I usually try and give it a chance, but years ago, not that long ago, but I went to see The Thin Red Line, which was like a war movie, I think a Vietnam kind of war movie. And I went with my boyfriend at the time, and he owed me a lot of chick flicks after that movie, because I was just like this. He was like, because he was adamant that he wanted to see it. It was going to be a great movie, and he even admitted that it was not a good movie at the end. But there aren't, I think I must block them out of my head, the ones I really, really hate. But when you talk, like, the really bad ones that you enjoy, it's the cheese, like what Krista's option was, like Xanadu and Grease 2.
Oh, Xanadu was amazing.
Xanadu, I have the Xanadu soundtrack in my head at least once a week, just because it's part of my, it's part of my youth. But, those are really bad movies. But they're really awesome at the same time.
Well, they had it at the movies on the waterfront when it used to be known as the Alfresco Film Festival a few years back.
Yeah.
It was spectacular.
I remember a friend of mine had it on, her family had like a laser disc player, for lack of it, like the really big, the record.
So much.
And they had a huge like projection TV, and they had this, and I remember watching Xanadu on their television on a comfy couch, and I was like, this is the best. I want to roller skate everywhere. But it doesn't stand up really. Yeah.
No, it doesn't hold up like even a little.
No.
Krista E?
I honestly, again, I don't know if it's, dementia starting to kick in, or again, like Michelle, if I just block these things out.
Yeah.
But I honestly can't think of any bad movies that I've seen, and I know I've seen some. I know there's some that afterwards, Keith and I just looked at each other and went, like, what the hell was that? But I'm totally drawing a blank right now, and again, I'm sorry, 3 hours sleep in the last 24 hours, so that part of my brain is just gone.
I think
done.
I do think that things like Netflix and like streaming services and all the other various channels for getting movies into your world now, like if you're watching something truly appalling, First of all,
Turn it off.
statistically, you're probably not in a movie theater. Exactly, that's just it.
Yeah,
You just turn it off. It's like, yeah, like we're good. Like there was a movie that popped on Netflix that had been fairly well reviewed on the international circuit and was getting a lot of international buzz and was like, oh my god, this looks so good. I was like, yes, I checked out, and I started to watch it, and I was so excited to watch this movie, and I was like, oh my god, this is so boring. Like I can't even.
Yeah.
And I just gave up on it. But I can do that because I'm only paying like $9 or
Exactly. I've got a lot of finish watchings in my queue on Netflix. I'm like, no, I'm not going to finish watch.
Patch Adams. That was one I hated.
Oh.
There you go.
I did not enjoy Patch Adams. It was the schmaltz. I could not deal with the schmaltz.
Never. And honestly, I hate, and it just popped into my head when Krista said dementia, I hate The Notebook. Hate it, but that's for personal reasons.
Oh,
Yeah.
I understand that. I was so mad about The Notebook because I was like, oh, like this is lovely, and then at the end it was like, wait a minute, this is about Alzheimer's? Like, I hate all of you.
And it makes it so pretty and romantic, and it ain't.
It's not.
Even a little bit. I'm like,
a little.
Yeah, I was just like, that is such a piece of shit. Sorry to anybody who likes it.
And spoiler alert, everyone dies at the end.
Yes.
Yeah. I have a lot of opinions on movies because I, at one time, used to go to no fewer than 3 movies a week at the theater. One of my most loathed movies is Dances with Wolves.
Oh,
never.
And I'm going to
say
tell you that I saw that at the Majestic Theater in Cornerbrook, and I sat there for what it seemed like 6 hours.
150 years.
And I looked at my watch, and it was 45 minutes. And I turned to my friend Janet, and I said, I'll be back later. And I walked around for an hour and a half, came back, and shit still didn't happen.
It was still like another hour and a half after that.
I know. I was like, how long is this goddamn movie?
Needs to be done.
And everybody's like, oh, Academy Award. I'm like, are you people sniffing glue? Because it was horrible. I also didn't like Titanic. Like, I just didn't. People would go and see that 5 and 6 times. I'm like, do you have a life?
It's 3.5 hours long.
Nope. Eyes Wide Shut. Also.
Oh my God! Yeah. Oh.
So myself and my friend Raylyn stood in line opening night because it was a Stanley Kubrick movie, and I really enjoyed Stanley Kubrick, and we stood in line opening night for 2.5 hours. Sat through that movie, which had more. A cut toenail has more sexual tension than that screen. And I sat there and had spent $25 and about 6.5 hours of my life watching that bullshit.
You will never get that time back, Lori.
No.
All Tom Cruise's fault.
Oh, he went through this phase where I wanted to punch him in the face, and that
still in that
phase. It was like Eyes Wide Shut, Magnolia, Vanilla Sky, that whole
tension. A lot of tension.
I liked him in Magnolia, and I liked him and Nicole Kidman in Far and Away. I love Far and Away.
Oh yeah.
I feel like it doesn't hold up well. So I'm not going to watch it again, but
but I love him in Mission Impossible. I think those movies, and that's like Brad Pitt. There was a period there where he did like Meet Joe Black, and was it A River Runs Through It, and then there was this other one that they were the most fucking depressing movies I've ever seen. And I'm like, you need to go back and get in the back of the car with Thelma and Louise and go off that bloody cliff.
But then he went and got like really hot again and did Mr. and Mrs. Smith with Angelina.
Yes, and then I liked him again.
And the other, he was hot in that.
Well, now he's kind of insufferable again, but I really really liked Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and then I was like, meh.
Yeah. My guilty pleasure, and it's more of a story of it more than the actual movie, was Dumb and Dumber, and which is a ridiculously bad movie, but the the scene where they pull in, you know, on the mini bike and they pull into town and they get off the bike and Lloyd is like solidified, you know, Jeff Daniels is solidified to Jim Carrey because he's peed. Like that scene, it makes me, and then his snot is frozen to his face. Like those scenes make me laugh so hard that I lose my breath. And my brother Calvin and I, when he was alive, we watched that, and he was almost hyperventilating. We laughed so hard, and it's a horrible movie. And I've never seen any of the other ones, and I've never watched it again. But that movie was hysterical, and it's so bad. The close second is the whole Sharknado trilogy.
Oh, I love Sharknado.
Well, you know,
or anything you'll see on
out.
MST3K is always good for a laugh.
Yeah. So there is the second question of the movies, and great answers, everybody. I enjoy that very much. The third question is, if you were to have a song from your high school years, what would that, and I'll include junior high and high school, if you were to have a song from your junior high and high school years, what would that one single song be that you always go to if you want to wax poetic about that period of your life?
Winter by Tori Amos.
Ooh, that's a good one.
There you go.
Yeah, I went through sort of I had gone sort of like from this teeny bopper phase to really getting into, you know, Tori and REM and kind of the angsty stuff.
Yes.
And so just hearing that really kind of brings me back to that phase.
Yeah.
Wow. All of my friends were like the teeny boppers, right? Like they liked what was their name? New Kids on the Block and that, and I was like, that wasn't my.
Hold up.
I mean, I liked them fine, but I didn't. I didn't love them. So I was a lot of like Pet Shop Boys and stuff like that. But my all-time favorite song from that era is Don Henley, Boys of Summer. Like that's one of that.
Very nice.
Yeah. It doesn't really bring any specific memory back, but I have loved that song for years, and I will love it for years to come. So.
First of all, 4/5 of New Kids on the Block have aged very well. And one is not.
I was going to say, who didn't age well?
We'll talk about that offline.
Anything derogatory.
Slanderous. For me, even though it came out when I was in grade 12, Smells Like Teen Spirit is like one of those songs that has always been like, it was this massive transformation in my own life, and like music changed like fundamentally kind of on a dime. And once I discovered Nirvana, I said goodbye to pretty much everything else I'd ever listened to.
Yeah. It was my first year of university. My roommate was into like Jane's Addiction and Nirvana and all that. And that's first year of university is when I left it all behind. And I remember I made a mixtape. I went home at Thanksgiving and was playing it. And my friend was like, "You've changed and I don't like it." And I'm like, "Oh shit, I actually have taste now. Thank you very much." But anyway.
Yeah, for me, like I'm kind of like the same thing. Like I went from, you know, Duran Duran and Platinum Blonde and that whole like that type of music, and I kind of swung immediately to like Nirvana and Pearl Jam and that whole kind of and for me Pearl Jam, even though I think it was my first year university, was Jeremy, because I was so that whole album 10 was amazing to me, and it really was about Eddie Vedder's like and Even Flow. Like I think Even Flow for me was even a better song. Eddie Vedder's vocals were just so amazing to me, and even now when I hear him sing new stuff, I'm like, God, Eddie, you're like I just love it.
I I can't hear the song Black without being back in Bronson House at Dal, sitting and, you know, watching people drink and having a drink and looking at somebody's lava lamp. Like, it's there.
Yeah. Yeah. So like for me, it was, you know, there was an, and I even went through this Men Without Hats phase early in grade 10 with like Pop Goes the World, and every time I hear Pop Goes the World,
how much bigger is the phase than that one song? Didn't they only have one song?
There was nothing. I think they might have had another one, but I
And
don't
Without
remember.
Hats, they did Safety Dance.
Oh my God, yes, that's right.
Sorry, my mistake.
Yeah, 2 hits.
Apologies to the Men Without Hats enthusiasts.
Yeah, and like Delight, you know.
Oh God,
you know,
Grooves in the Heart.
That was classic. That was definitely like grade 11
The
for
song
me.
stands up well.
Yeah, you know, that's still a pretty boss song. Okay, so let's just check in one more round of comments. We are going to forego the Wayback Machine on account of
we talked too much.
Well, no, we talked enthusiastically. We're almost on 90 minutes. We're into overtime now, so let's check in one more time on our channels, and then we will bid adieu for this grand experiment. YouTube, is there anything going on over on YouTube?
So Keith said, what was Mary McConnell's character's name? Stands with a shitty script? Oh, there you go. He said stands with a shitty script.
Nice.
Stands with a shitty script.
That's it. Lee said, good, gotta go. Great job, ladies. So there you go. Thanks Lee. Thanks, Keith.
Mm-hmm.
And on the website, I've got 2 from Mike. He's with Lori on the last meal. Definitely Christmas turkey dinner. There's no better meal, whoever makes it. Worst movie.
Dinners are just better in Newfoundland.
Worst movie, The Marine, which I don't remember, and I'm guessing I'm blocking it out of my head for a reason. Or any Tom Cruise movie, and he said that before we mentioned Tom Cruise. And the song is "I Don't Care Anymore" by Phil Collins, which is a really good song. And then
it is a good song.
Yeah. And they just say great show, ladies. Well, Phil Collins is Phil Collins.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
And Krista, is there anything going on in our Hangout?
Yeah, I don't know if you can see this, but Keith has made a bit of a recommendation. No, you can't see it.
Oh, let's see if I can screen share.
He recommends these boobies, and it's a picture of blue-footed boobies. Because, you know, he's an amateur ornithologist, evidently.
Oh man!
Evidently, and now we know that the closet gets Wi-Fi.
Yes.
You're gonna have to
sort
that shit out.
Yeah, I know.
Get your man under control, Krista. Jesus.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see if I can. Can you see the video? Keith Elliott somehow tweeting from the closet says, "I recommend."
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Thank
you for that, Keith Elliott. So listen, I think that'll be a good time to wrap up. I want to thank everyone who joined us on the panel tonight. Thanks, Michelle and Krista.
We should do this again.
I think we had a lot of fun. I want to thank our. We need to figure out your lighting situation.
Yeah.
But I also want to thank Jim and Keith and Mike and Lee and Dan for giving up the co-ed hangout for Friday night. It was a lot of fun. Thanks to everyone who commented and chimed in and seemed to think that their opinions bore weight with us. So I think that's adorable.
Ladies, we didn't swear. Weren't we supposed to swear?
No,
you dropped the F-bomb.
Yeah, but not with as much vigor as I do in normal conversations.
Oh, I know. Wait till show 2, and then it all gets laid out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Fuck. There we go. So I just want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. We had a great conversation, good topics, lots of fun. I hope we can reconvene at a date to be determined in the future and do this again.
Yes.
Either in person or with all of our friends on the internet. And so with that, I'm going to offer the traditional farewell to the Google Plus Hangout, Friday Night Hangout. Good meeting!
Good meeting!
Good meeting!
Good meeting.
Thanks, everyone.
Night, everybody.
Night.